Okay. Hi, Amar. Welcome to the show, and thanks for just joining us, our guest today, to just talk about Get Set Go entrepreneurship. So, just to give a little intro about you to our audience, Amar is our go-to person for getting to know more about the entrepreneurship. He is the head of strategy in Sarthy. Beyond that, where he is working on building the entrepreneurs to make it fundable, he also carry 2+ decades of experience, right from sales, go-to marketing, ops, and anything. So he is the right person to talk about it. All of us have that adrenal rush to become an entrepreneur. Even I would be thinking sometime. I wish I had somebody to give you the right recipe and a step by step guidance, which would have made my trajectory in a different format rather than learning by myself all along way. So, which is now all of you are what to say, gifted to have people around you, communities around you to talk about. It's one another a small journey from our end to just bring you that set by set. How do we just do that step by step journey with you to just take up your entrepreneurial adrenal rush in a structured, planned way. That's what we are just going to do that. Thanks, Amar, for being with us. It's our pleasure and honor to bring you in and unravel the steps with you to just give the right recipe and then figure it out how do we start the journey. Before we start, Amar, just tell us about yourself in the journey of, I think, 4+ years. You're in this journey to mentoring people and bringing them to the idea to the execution and with funding. That is where most of the entrepreneurs are coming and like looking for when do I get funding. Tell us about your journey, Amar.
Hey, hi, Manjula. Thanks for those kind words, and I will try to live up to that introduction, that glorious introduction that you gave. Just to give a quick background about myself, I'm a Bangalore boy, born and brought up here, come with about close to 25 years of corporate experience, work with brands like Cadbury's, Coca-Cola, Kevin Care, Vodafone, and Reliance Jio. And now for the last 5 years or so, I'm in the startup space, mentoring various startups. And at Sarthy, we basically do three kind of offerings. One, we do our mentoring programs, which is basically to make them fundable. As you know, startups getting funds is one of the biggest challenges, and we want to solve that. And once they become fundable, we actually help them to raise funds, which is our second offering. And third thing is we also help them to get connected with strategic partners who help them to grow faster and make a mark for themselves. So this is what we do at Sarthy, and we would be very happy to take your questions and help out young entrepreneurs who want to get into this journey.
Lovely. Thank you, Amar, for the warm introduction. And that is where everybody is looking for how do we get funding. And you're saying you're just making things happen. So lovely to just get into that stage. But as you know, we wanted to take it from the beginning, before even zero, because everybody gets that idea. Some of the people, when they are in a college, they see the lot of unicorns are coming, startups are growing. Rather than just getting into the career right away, they would like to start the startup. That's one set of people, right? The second set of people, after they work for a couple of years or more years, they felt boring. And I'm one of the classic example on that kind of example, where then feel that entrepreneurship is a good journey to just explore that. That is the second set of people. The third set of people is where they are at the end of a career age and they are looking for doing something new, and they just look at that entrepreneurship is a way forward. And beyond these three category, I would say that most of us women are at home, are already just finding that kind and niche kind of a homepreneur. So everybody has that aspiration, I would say, though we say the pockets of it. But before we get that into the action, when we get that aspiration and thoughts, what are all the steps we need to think to prepare ourselves? That would be the way forward to start your discussion.
Oh, that's a fantastic question, Manjula, and I would like to quote from my own experience on this. See, it is very natural that we all get that little bit of urge to get into entrepreneurship by ourselves. And if you ask me, there is no perfect time, and you can't time it to say that I will exactly do only like this, or at this particular juncture, or at this point of time. What really works is uh, preparing yourself towards the journey. So when I say preparation, what does it mean? So it means that you need to really look at your financial situation. So if your family is actually, they're dependent on you, so how much of emergency fund have you created? Are you really debt free? Are you, making sure that there are enough savings for you to survive a phase where the income could be up and down? And if they are not dependent on you, can you just make sure that whatever your expenses are really taken care of? So simple things like health insurance, these kind of things are to be really taken into account while you're preparing for this. The second part of it is, what is your area of interest? You need to be very clear. Where is it that kind of business that you're looking at, and what is the opportunity that you want to really tap into? So once you decide on that, like now, most of us would be either taking a hobby and converting that into a business opportunity, or some domain where we are working on a regular basis already, and we've built a certain amount of expertise. We want to build a business around it. So if that is the area of interest, do some research, identify what is the kind of need that is available in the market, and how you are going to differentiate in that space, and then you can start the business. And once you do this kind of research and identify the exact needs, then you start building a certain amount of connects around that. So make sure that you get into social media or LinkedIn and platforms like that. Start building some connects around it. Establish a little bit of simple things like firm, GST, blah blah blah, all those regulatory things that are required, maybe trademark registration and all of that. Start building a small community around what is it that you want to offer. Maybe some set of small set of customers, need not be paying, but initially at least somebody who knows what you're trying to do. And more importantly, try and get a good mentor, someone with whom you can have a sounding board, you can go back and lean on, clearly an anchor who can help you in guiding this whole journey. So these are like some of the critical steps in preparing yourself before you take the final leap.
Lovely. Lovely for just talking about, I think, am I audible, Amar?
Yeah, yeah, clearly audible.
I'm audible. Right. Okay. So lovely to just share the pointers. Some of the good pointers I would really would like to do the deep dive would be on the mentoring part, which you were just seeing about it. That's the one of the good part. Be a sounding board to go and explore kind of a thing, right? How do we find these mentors? Is there a way? It's a set formula. Who is that mentor? I can just go and find just to get the input validation of am I in a right path? How do we get that?
So that's a very good question, Manjula. And mentors today, unlike in the past, are more accessible, primarily in a lot of platforms like LinkedIn, or a lot of other networking groups are there where you can find mentors, and they are available. What you need to really look at is, what is the kind of person that you would like to work with. One, at a domain expertise understanding level, or at a level of really coming out with some good industry experience, or at the level of what do you call a connect between the two of you. Like, are you really able to get connected to the person as an individual, with whom you can have a freewheeling conversation, and you can clearly discuss and openly discuss both the pluses and the minuses without any hesitation. This kind of bonding is very much required. And today a lot of platforms are available where you can find mentors. The only point here is, how will you really choose them, and what is it that really you're looking for? And how you choose them will depend on what are your expectations from a mentor, and how they can deliver that.
Well said, Amar. Yeah, it's about knowing what we need to expect from them, as well as how disciplined we are to just go back and then continue the relationship, are the two pillars where we can just get the best out of the mentors. And many a times, also, it's not something the moment people say, I would like to be a mentor, and they're also going to be ready. It's going to be the back and forth iterations for us to get that chemistry up and running, right? So that's important. Thanks for just sharing that. The one another
And
point which yeah, go ahead,
and
Amar.
one critical piece is you have to be coachable. Like you can have a great mentor with you. If you don't come with an open mind, and if you don't come with an mindset to learn, right? Whatever might, however great the mentor could be, he will not, or she will not be able to add value to you. So
Yeah,
your ability to listen to them, your ability to act on the conversation that you had, and then really critically think the questions that they are asking. How much does it make sense? And you go back and reflect on it, and come back with specific action plans on that. That would be actually be the differentiator in the effectiveness of the mentoring program, rather than just selecting a very high profile or a person with a great experience or a great degree to mentor you. So your ability to surrender yourself to your mentor will make a lot of difference.
absolutely, I'm just with you on that. And also, it's not always when we are going to look at the mentor, we need a mentor with the high profile. Rightly, you have said, right? In the beginning, when we wanted to start the journey, we need somebody who have done it, and then they are able to reflect with us. That itself is a good way to go forward to look into that, right? Thanks for just sharing. But since that mentor topic have just come, I just wanted to always it is two sides of the coin. Entrepreneurs always feel that when we just go to the mentor, I know everything, right? That's it's part of it. And when we just look at that, whatever comes, it's difficult to digest everything. So bringing that balance, as well as since we just ask them to be a mentor, listening to them is a right way to at least reflect on yourself and take that call, right?
Absolutely.
Great,
So even
great.
as mentors, some of us are trained not to be a push mentor, but a pull mentor. When I say pull, is basically ask questions and allow them to kind of build a conversation, right? So if you can find those kind of really mentors who are trained to listen, right, then you will get the right fitment there.
Awesome. Thanks, Amar, for reflecting on that. So, the second part I would like to just check before we move on to the preparatory phase would be, you said we need to have a idea which is just going to be having the market opportunity, right? That's one part of it where you were talking about it. But I have a question before even that. Before I just try that, is it the only way where we have to just look at my idea, it's becoming the market opportunity? Is there a multiple smaller steps I can just do and then find the success before I jump into the full mode? What do you suggest on that?
Yeah, so when you decide on the idea that you want to work on, typically startup is not the only idea that is available for you to become an entrepreneur. So a lot of people think that, okay, the moment I want to quit my job, I want to get into a startup, right? So that is one way of doing it, becoming an entrepreneur. But today, if you look at in the marketplace, there are many more other opportunities. Simple things like freelancing, actually becoming a freelancer of a particular domain that you are working on. You can start with that, or doing some small gig work like consulting, right? Or working on or taking a particular franchising or partnering opportunities that is there in a particular domain, right? So or some legacy business that is already there, you can work on that, and kind of become part of it. So all of these are opportunities that is there today. Unlike you really start investing very heavily into a startup and build on it, you can start working on a smaller piece with these kind of opportunities that you see first, build a good ground for yourself, foundation for yourself, and then take the final leap.
Absolutely, I am resonating with you. Most of us should be taught to just take up these kind of steps to test the water. Are we really
Absolutely.
geared for that? And is it resonating with us? Are we getting excited? Because one of the challenge being an entrepreneur is we keep jokingly saying in the startup world, as an entrepreneur, right from sweeping to go doing the office work as well as the every work comes to the entrepreneur head, right? You don't have a delineation of doing this. I will not do that. Everything belongs to that. So before we experience that, testing the water always makes us easy to just explore that. Thanks for just sharing that insight as well, right? So let's move on.
Just before we go to the next, Manjula, how did your journey start as an entrepreneur? Can you just share a little bit of on your journey?
This is the unplanned twist comes coming, but happy to share that. No worries about that. So, my entrepreneurship journey is after working with 15 years of corporate, I feel monotonous and boring, even though the job is exciting. You have to go and do the work. Hopefully my managers and the colleagues are all listening to that, so they would be able to vouch on that. So that is becoming a monotonous. That's the reason. I don't know at that time what is entrepreneurship, honestly. I never had a plan to just become an entrepreneur and come. I only had a plan. I don't want to work now, but I wanted to do something. So when I just reflect that with my managers, they were able to coach and then figure it out. Anyway, I am not ready to listen to them. They said, okay, fine, take a break now. We just did a logical closure of staying over there and then come back, and they were very reciprocative to do that. So that's how it started. That's what I was saying. I wish I had people like you at that time to come back and say, hey, you don't need to become an entrepreneur to do something on that. These are all the opportunities are available. Would have been a different way. But anyway, that's a way we just started a entities for learning development, and then that was not giving a what do you say, happiness of what I am looking for. Then slowly started with a different HR. That was also not giving that happiness. Finally, her second innings gave that kind of a happiness to just serve something what we have learned so far. Thanks for checking that. Right?
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you, Amar. So now let's just move on to the other part of the journey which we wanted to prepare ourselves, right? One is finding the market opportunity is there or not. But if I have to ask you, give me a recipe maybe with the 5 to 10 steps. What I have to exactly just prepare myself to just do that to set my operation running. What are all the steps I need to prepare myself before I call myself my business is up and running?
Yeah. So, in preparation before you start the business, like I said, one is you need to look at your operational expenses, how much it is going to be, and how is it going to get funded for the next whatever 6 months, 8 months, 1 year till you really get started off. That could be one part. And the second thing is a lot of regulatory requirements is there. Simple things like registration of your firm, in terms of trademark registration, in terms of GST, in terms of various other things that you need to really look at. Having right kind of partners, who will take care of your accounting and your chartered accountant or your bookkeeping part. Having who will take care of your marketing piece. So having a certain amount of partner network that around you who can support you when you start off, because a lot of people would like to start as solopreneurs first. So when you start with solopreneurs, the biggest challenge with entrepreneurs is that they would like to do everything by themselves. And when they try to do everything by themselves, invariably there would be compromises in several of the functions, and that will not give them the right result. So it is always important to make sure that what is core to your understanding and your strength, and work on it by yourself, and rest of the non-core functions, try to have good partners whom you can outsource the work, so that you can really build on their strength. So that is very important to identify that. The third thing that comes is building the right kind of a team. Like you need to identify what kind of team members you need, what are the core strengths that they will bring in, what functional knowledge that they would bring, how can they add value. So ensuring that you have the right kind of team around you, co-founders around you, also becomes very, very critical. And last but not least, having a very clear vision, making sure that you have a right vision, with which is then broken into goals, and then that is broken into clear action plans. all of that will make a difference. One large piece which a lot of people would struggle to go around doing is, uh, when you are working in a corporate, your working styles or processes is already fixed. So most of the corporates have very well managed processes, but when you come out and start on your own, you need to set your own processes. So you need to make sure that you do all the thinking and, making sure that you get those processes right. And you need to also stick to some basic things, right from simple things like scheduling, time management, and all of that, to deliver on whatever you're promising to your customers.
Right. Well said, Amar. Thanks for covering all the pointers, what you're talking about, building the partnership for your business functions, and then just building your vision, making the strategy, the business plan to know what we are just going to do about it. And another important aspect you touched about is having a great team to just do around it. Even though we are a solopreneurs, it is important to have the people surrounded by us who's going to be supporting pillars for us to do about it. So, 2 point I would like to ask here. One is about being a solopreneur means, right? So, the team part of it, except the partnership, how do we bring more people into the trust circle where we can partnership really to work with them? So that is the one part of it. But some of them are really wanted to grow. They don't want to be a solopreneur. That's the second part. But they have a problem in finding their co-founders, because that's another part of it. So how do we handle these 2 pointers?
Yeah. So, like I said, even before you start your business, if you start building some network or community around it, then you will start identifying people who are doing similar kind of offerings or similar kind of work. So that will start giving you two things. One, you can start benchmarking again your work against someone who's already doing something. You can also, it gives an opportunity to meet like-minded people, to collaborate. So when you start meeting people and you start, talking to them, that's when you will come to know, what kind of people you can work with and what you can't work with. And that gives an inclination in terms of trying to get the right kind of co-founder or the kind of partner that you're looking at. The other way to look at it is also uh, being part of several communities. Like, there are several communities there today where you can become member and stuff like that, where many more entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs are part of, and they are also looking at some kind of partners or co-founders and stuff like that, where it gives an opportunity for you to collaborate and work together. So there are multiple ways to do this, and there is no one fit all kind of a solution to this. Each one has to figure out. It's a bit of a trial and error, but you need to kind of get this from your heart, that this is the kind of partner that you want to work with, and unless you try it out, you will not get it. So always, that's why, at Sarthy we always keep saying that, dating before marriage. So, make sure that you spend enough time with somebody before you commit to them, that you're going to take them as partner. Otherwise, you will just get excited about their background, you will sign it on the dotted line, and then there you realize that the other person may not have the time to deliver on what they are promising, or they are actually not able to deliver what they expected to do. So you got to be really careful about that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Dating before marriage is a important element for us to just explore, especially to make the partners in a startup. I agree. But since we are talking about Sarthy, who does that about it, where is this, Sarthy helps when the idea is started doing execution, and we are just looking for making it to a next level. So you are just doing it. But you also spoke about the other community. Some of the communities I would like to give it to the audience where they can also reflect on that. Is one of the community I really cherish is a startup leadership program which I attended. Right, when I just start the entrepreneurship journey, this program really made me to give the structure, and more than that, we also the cohort has really become friends and pal. You can lean on them saying that, hey, I have this problem, how can we just do that? So 30 of us become suddenly a team member for each of us. It's like that where we were able to get along and then figure it out. So that was the one program. And even in fact, this program we thought of bringing Sukrita as well, who was running the Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurs. So that's the other program where we can just get into that. So there are a lot of programs available. Hen is available, her entrepreneurial network. So a lot of programs are available for everybody today. So as you rightly said, Amar, it's about sitting down and noting down our priority and where we wanted to spend our time and connecting. That becomes the important aspect of us to build the community, right?
Absolutely, and I can list down a few more if you want. Like they can look at Thai as one of the communities that they can get into. Something like NASCOM, FICI, or Wiki. These are all specific to industry. Startup India itself is building a very good network of entrepreneurs and mentors. A lot of co-working space has their own networking platforms. Indian Angel Network is again one more thing. Rotary is there, BNI is there. So like that, there are several networking and community building groups are there who can help you. Apart from that, there are wonderful programs run by Goldman Sachs, IIMs, and IITs where entrepreneurs can go register, especially the women entrepreneurs. A lot of these programs run at these places. You can register and be a part of, which is really helpful.
Right. So that just gives the next segue for us to just look at that is this is makes sense to prepare. How do we do? But then let's say as an entrepreneur, they're already running the business, but they're just in the stage one to look at the revenue is coming. That's the stage, and now they need to look at that. How do we scale? Whether they are just bringing the MRR as a 1 lakh or wherever they are wanted to make it as a 2x to 10x or whatever it is. Let's just say that they've just reached from 0 to 1 with the steps what we are talking about. When they just started moving their needle from their own investment, somebody is paying for their offering and product. How do we just build that next level of a growth, Amar? Please share some ideas on that.
Yeah, next level of growth is primarily built around having a very very strong value proposition and a very very good product market fit. So once you get these strategy piece right, which is what I keep saying, that as an entrepreneur, are you really taking a pause and looking at your strategy piece? How much time are you really scheduling yourself to look at your strategy? So a lot of people are so much in a hurry to keep looking at their operational stuff, they forget the strategy piece, and hence they get impacted little later. So if they get these things right and then start working towards reaching out these customers, then it's all about the scaling up happens in having the right kind of team members, having the right kind of partners, and automating wherever possible. So the more automation that they can get into, the more tools that they can use. That's how it is all like, if you already have established a certain amount of customer base and they are paying well, and these are positive on the unit economics, then it is a question of your ability to scale up from there on. And that comes only with automation and more number of legs on the street, and getting the right kind of partners to grow. So having a right kind of partner program, right kind of channel partners, right kind of partners who can help you grow, and making sure that you have the right kind of marketing strategy. So these are some of the things that you need to work, and specific to market to market and sector to sector, these will vary. And when we take on specific sectors, we can discuss in detail.
Lovely. Thanks for sharing. But again, follow up on the question what you have just shared about it. True, most of the time. But the entrepreneurship dilemma would be in that phase would be the trust, because when they get their client and wanted to open up the cards to them to work on it, the trust part of it, how do we build some topics on the threads on that, how do we build that? The second along with the trust as well, is there how do we say transparency, we can build it in that partnership so that it will not go wrong. Even if we go wrong, we know this is what it is going to go. So just share your thoughts on that, Amar.
See, being there in this field for about 5 years, I I'm yet to see a case where somebody has really taken somebody else's ideas and run away with it. So it's not so easy with that. Typically, one of the things that is followed as a general practice is to get a NDA signed. So when you have a non-disclosure agreement signed with a partner with whom you're going to discuss in detail, that actually protects you in all the way in terms of making sure that your idea is protected in that sense, or the business model is protected. So that is something as a best practice you should try to inculcate in the very early stages of your business when you start. Uh, Having said that, you need to be very guarded in terms of really validating the kind of partners that you are looking at. So unless you are very sure that they are going to be supporting and they are going to be a long-term bets, you need not share everything about the whole business model with them. You can always share it only on need-to-know basis. And once you are comfortable with them, only then you can keep on sharing more as you go along. It is a process of learning, and yeah, sometimes you do get a hard change there. You need to be very careful about it, but please do take some precaution. Like they say, you can trust everyone, but validate before you trust.
Makes sense, right? Thanks for just sharing that. As you rightly said, taking an idea probably easy, but the execution is not going to be that easy, even though if they take, right? People always says that building the culture, building the people, and what that is also a entrepreneurship game. The same business
Absolutely.
when I do, when you do your expertise, I can't mimic your expertise. I
We
can
face
only.
that we face that all the time, Manjula. What happens is, since we are into mentoring business, a lot of people come and they ask for some strategy, and we take a lot of time prepare the strategy and everything, give it to them on the presentation. They will go through everything and say we will get back to you. So we know what does it mean. It means that these people have taken the strategy. Now they think they can go and execute by themselves, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that, because strategy is a very broad level thing that would have given underneath a lot of execution excellence that is planned. That is all in the head. Unless you really get into my head, you will not be able to execute the way I am planning that to get it done. So
Yeah, that's right, right. So that's where nowadays, if you look at that, most of the pitch decks are available. It doesn't mean you're able to execute that. That's a different ball game we are talking about it. So that's one part of it. And the second part you also touch base is having the NDA. I would also be saying that while we are also having the NDAs in place, it's also important to look at that whether you wanted to build an IP for your product or the services somewhere. At least start filing and thinking about it. It's your own baby. That's
absolutely.
also another way, right, to just build
Absolutely.
it.
If it's a very innovative or a unique idea, or something that nobody else has done before, it is very important that you get that protected through both the IP option and the trademark option or the copyright option. Make sure that that is protected very well, and whatever you want to share, make sure that these are outside of those agreements that you get into. This has to be exclusive with you, and if it is something that you can market over a period of time, you need to make sure that the royalty clauses are all included when you start sharing this with them.
Right. So this just gives the other a pointer for us to look at that, to say that how do we just build the next level of a synergy? One is having our NDA, having the partnership, and do that. But there's another part which is going to hurt us this time is the cash flow. The cash flow is not going to be as easy what we are thinking about it, because the expenses are shooting up in the anticipation of bringing more clients or making that part of it. And that is where entrepreneurs are keep looking for the funding. That becomes a way to just save us to just build into the next level of that. But then the funding is also not going to happen on the next day, the moment we think about it. It's also a long journey. Tell us, how do we prepare for that funding journey? But till such time, how do we balance our pace in order to be in the business, Amar?
I think the best way to make sure that you don't get into trouble on running out of your cash, or the cash flow is negative, is to make sure that your basic or the original business model is not where you have to burn a lot of cash. So ensuring that your burn is well within control and your revenue start kicking in. That means, your whatever you're bootstrapping, at the end of that, you should have built up a certain MVP, which is at least at a unit economics level, not burning too much of cash. So that is very, very critical, because like you said, funding is not going to happen in a day. A lot of people have this myth about fundraising, saying that I will make a fancy pitch deck and I will go and make a presentation in front of 10 investors and people would be ready to invest. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. Average that I have seen is it takes anywhere between 8 to 12 months, or sometimes even 18 months to raise some funds. So there is a lot of work that goes within that. One more thing that is very critical is having a clear due diligence. So one of the things that you can prepare if you're planning to fundraise is start the process of self due diligence. I mean, we can share that list if you want. You can start working on that by yourself first, and keep those documents and other things ready, so that when you are ready for fundraise and the due diligence process happens, all those checklists are all taken care of, and you already keep the documents ready and make sure that everything is taken care of. So these are some of the critical points. And one of the critical things to become a sustainable startup is to have your strategy piece ready. And that is where we keep saying that something like our base camp is very, very important for every startup to have a look at. And you can be rest assured that you will be able to get funded once you go through a program like that.
Right. Yeah, as you rightly said, funding is not going to happen on a day one. It just 18 months, or sometimes 24 months, or sometimes 12 months, depends on what we are talking about, right? And really, I would appreciate if you can share that due diligence. What is that four, five parameters? We can just check into that, so all of them can keep it in their back of mind to just do that due
It's
diligence.
a bit a longer list than that, so I can share that Excel with your team. Maybe we can share it with the people who are interested.
Perfect. Okay, so that's the one part of it, and the second part in that journey, what we are talking about, Amar. mm Many a times the process is required to each and every department of scaling up stage, whether it is a 1 to 2 or a 1 to 10 or whatever it is. The process becomes the crux of the story, including the process. I would say whether it's a sales or a marketing, because many a time when we just see the process, they all strengthen the ops, because that's easy, because they are able to see that what needs to be done in the ops side of it many a time. And also most of the entrepreneurs are not well versed in the sales and marketing side too. That's also another way there is a leakage over there. So if some tech entrepreneurs, whether even a homepreneurs also, how do we make sure some of the elements of the sales and marketing, without saying that, also needs to be prepared well ahead? What would be that?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And one of the things that myth that we need to come out of it is, there will be a sales team and the sales team will do their job of selling. I think at startups we need to get into the process of making sure that everybody sells. Everybody has to be a sales team member, and irrespective of your designation and what function you're handling, you need to make sure that you sell. That is something given, and that is something you need to work on. And coming back to having a good, strong sales process is identifying, like I said, a proper product market fit, and then looking at various segments and having the right kind of funnel. So you cannot depend on only one method of funnel to deliver to your numbers. The more funnels, different funnels that you can create, so that your inflow of customers is on a regular basis increasing, and it can also be sustained, that would be very, very critical. That again comes with the type of business, whether you're B2B or B2C or D2C, whether it's going to deliver from lead generation, from social media marketing, from organic, or is it by actual visits or calls, or by sending mailers. There are multiple opportunities or multiple ways to do that, and every business will have to look at their own methodology and find their funnels to get it done. And one critical piece in this is a lot of people ignore or don't really give enough importance to customer journey mapping. So making sure that identifying the entire or mapping the entire customer journey, and then looking where are the touch points that are available and how can you have a selling story at each of the touch points would make a lot of difference.
Awesome, Amar. That was a brilliant input, but then I'm going to deep dive into that. That's your forte as well. So I'm not just going to leave you here to just leave this, give this a top answer and then going. I just want you to just do this two things for our discussion. One, it's not that a one funnel opportunity we should just look at that. We should look at that multiple funnels. That's the input. Also, you were just talking about that where we are building that the customer journey map, the touch points where we need to do that. So using these 2 points, if everybody in the organization has to sell, can you give us a one live example for B2B or B2C, whatever you're comfortable with, as a example for viewers to understand?
Yeah, sure. So just to give an example, like say in a typical B2B, there are a couple of ways that you can get a funnel. One is to do some kind of a digital marketing, drive the traffic to your website, and from there you get a certain amount of lead generated, and then you either call back or reach out to them and that try to convert. That's one methodology that is there. That is one way of creating a funnel. The other way is to reach out to your customers, the TG. So either through LinkedIn or through your contacts, you go make calls or you visit them, you leave your card, you establish a relationship and build around it. So that could be another way. Third way is there are a lot of lead gen tools and people available. You can use that. So if you can build these 3 4 different types of funnels for that business, that can get you a much more sustainable sales or the revenue opportunities that you are looking to actually grow. The second part which you said is on the customer journey mapping. So right from at the website, when you have the website and somebody comes into the website based on your uh, either social media ad or whatever it is, like even the ad is one touch point and you are talking something to your customer. So do you have the right call to action there? Similarly, if they come to website, so what is, do you have a bot or do you have a call to action there? Is there somebody calling back? If the calling back is happening, so have you really seen the verbiage that is getting used there? What kind of conversation they are going to have? Is that being recorded? Are you really checking how they are actually looking at converting that into an actual sale? Like, or even let us say you already have a converted customer and that customer is coming back for a service issue and your service executive is talking to them. Is that actually seen as a touch point to sell and then get a referral back so that you will get one more customer there, or you're just trying to resolve that problem, right? These are like really simple examples if you look at it. But if you take a process, there are multiple touch points where similar verbiages and similar call to actions can be created to actually promote a particular product.
Thank you, Amar. That was literally insightful to just look at that, right? It's a small thing, but then um, as an entrepreneur, they miss that because they're busy in creating the ideas into action, but we miss these periphery. We think it's a periphery activity, but then that's the core as well. Many a times, right? When we just do this, tweak these process, when they come for a service call, serve them, but also just look at the opportunity to do your upsell or your cross sell kind of a thing. That just gives a little more opportunity for us to make a better revenue on that.
I
Well
will
said.
just give an example. I'll just give an example about this. We are working with one tech startup, and they have now built about a good amount of 6 to 8 thousand students. They've already kind of catered to, and they're working with. And I just asked them, how many of your new batches are coming from existing students referral? And you know what they said? They said it's zero. So they have 8,000 students or customers already getting benefited from their services or the product, but they have not even gone back and asked them to give a referral. So a lot of people don't have the basic thing of actually what we call it as do some base marketing. You have some existing customers. How do you do use that customer base to make sure that you get more referrals from them is something that is missed out.
Absolutely, I'm with you. As I said, it's probably uh, unintentional, I would say, because they are not aware of it, or they have not have a bandwidth something. But then it's a valid point. If all of us are able to get a certain percentage from existing, that's a easy business for us to just get the conversion going and then
Yeah.
doing. Thanks for that point, right? Now, I would like to just bring it to the last section of resources sharing. That's where we wanted to also make this as becoming a meaningful conversation for many of them to look at that. So, what kind of resources they can look at? So, probably if we can categorize it, preparation resources, these are all the things they can just go for it, and community learning, something they can go for it, or the organization where they can just look into that, and the books. So in the four category, if you can just share some resources, we can also share it here for the audience to just have it, Amar.
Yeah, I'll. Sorry, I have a little bit of cough. So simple
Take
things
some
like
water.
there are a
Take
lot
some
of
water. Amar, just take some water.
sure. There are a lot of resources available, and fortunately some of them are free as well. So I would really encourage the entrepreneurs to use them, right from simple things like AWS, which is available, and a lot of people can start off with a very the free option that is available for them. Freemium model is there. They can start with that. uh, Google for Startups is doing a lot of work. That is again, it contains a lot of free tools which you can use to enhance, your startup or the enterprise that you're looking at. Canva is a good tool. Again, it is freemium. It is useful for designing your own stuff. Whenever you're trying to put up your own poster or whatever, you can really work on it. That is very very useful. If you are into sending out a lot of mailers, you have a database. Mailchimp is another tool that you can use to make sure that you send out the right kind of content to your customers. HubSpot is there, both as a marketing tool and a CRM tool. These again come with base products of all of these are in freemium, so you can start with that and build around it. Just give me a minute. Sorry.
Sure, sure. Please take care of yours. Take care of the rest. That's fine.
The other piece is Startup India has also got a good mentor network where they also have a good amount of content, and fundraising options are there. Some amount of government grants and loans are also available in through this platform which you can use. Slack is another platform which is there where you can really use it as a communication tool, especially if it's a small team. It is really useful. Google Suits are there. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. All your mails and other things can be taken care of. Zoho is there. Zoho gives a lot of free tools, both as a CRM, as a marketing tool, when you really start off small. Trello is there, which is into project management, and you can track a lot of your work on that. So these are some of the resources that is available for you, and you can use some of this, and many more is there. You can just Google it. You will get many more resources which is available, which you can use it.
Right. Thanks, Amar, for just sharing that. I would literally just ask people to just connect with us. Whoever needs that, you can comment here and ask the questions. More than happy to just help you to just share the ideas or connect to the community where we can just help each other. All we wanted to just tell is all of us are here to handle everybody. That's the power of the online world today. You can reach out to anyone and anything you can ask. The only word I would just share it would be, don't afraid or don't just feel sad if someone is not responding. It's okay. It's okay, they, because we don't know what they are just going through. Let's just also appreciate their mindset and what their just personal things are going on, rather than thinking they have not responded to that, so probably they are busy with something else. So with that thought process, if you approach that, you would be able to connect with more and more people, and I'm sure we would be able to tap into someone who can just come to you like a mentor. And then today I'm just sitting again, I keep telling about it, her second innings journey wouldn't be there if I wouldn't have met a John VC from Accenture. He is the person who just held me my hand. Literally, we both were in the Starbucks for 2 days. He said, nothing doing. You're just doing to do this exercise, do this. You were sitting in one corner. He made me to work 2 to 3 hours every day to just come up with the what we are seeing today. So when I'm able to get a mentor without even knowing him who he is online and people referred like that, all of us would be able to get that. And that's the beauty of the universe where whatever we do, it also comes back to us. So let's just
Yeah,
be
and
in it. Go ahead, Amar.
yeah, and three critical skills that anybody can should develop if they are looking at getting into entrepreneurship is the first is your ability to tell a story. The storytelling is something that you need to really look at and learn, and it's something that you can learn. It's not a big deal. Secondly, your ability to network. Make sure that you network. That's how you build the entire community around you. You build the whole thing. And the third thing is, you need to become a seller. You need to learn the basic skills of selling. So these are very, very critical for your success.
Right. So probably if I have to add another last point to just say that as long as we are truthful and make the real impact, people also will be able to appreciate our journey. It's just not that money matters. Money will be a byproduct for all of the startups what we are talking about. It's about holding the process. You are believing in the mission and you're committed in the journey. Don't just let that go. So that's where we are just come over here to look into that. And there is a question is coming, so probably I'm going to ask Amar to help us out. Can anyone start with zero investment? What is your take on Shark Tank? Okay, Amar, please go for it.
I think Shark Tank is something that you are better equipped to answer on. As far as zero investment goes, I strongly believe that you can. It depends on, again, what is your specific area of interest and what is the scale that you're looking at. If you're really looking at a large scale, it is difficult to start with a zero investment. But if you're willing to start small and if you're willing to look at very small steps and then build around it, it is possible. Again, specific to sector wise, I will be able to give more insight. If you're interested, we can get in touch with it as to how we can build a whole business model around it. It is definitely possible to start with zero investment. And I would want Manjula to take on the Shark Tank question.
Right. Thanks, Amar, for putting me onto this spot. Right. I'm also, let me put it across. I'm not a fan of Shark Tank, so probably that I would like to just do that because I believe when we will get into the place where we wanted to be with the process, what we just follow in that. But Shark Tank is one of the way to look into that. For example, when you wanted to be a entrepreneur in this space, immediately getting into the Shark Tank is not that idea. I would be saying that because this portion, what we are building is to aspiring entrepreneurs to start on that. Probably you keep that as your benchmark like a Shark Tank or some other. It's just not only the Shark Tank is available, there are a lot of accelerators are available, and it depends on a different theme what you're working on. It could be on the sustainability, it could be on your fintech, it could be edtech, and a lot of social impact investment accelerators are available. So aim for everything, just keeping the Shark Tank alone as an aspiration. Could be one of the list you wanted to be part of it, but that can't be the only list. That's the only thing I would like to just share on that.
I
That's
just
all.
want to add one point to that, Manjula. Shark Tank is a fantastic platform just to build or build interest on the entrepreneurship itself or
Yeah.
the startup ecosystem itself. So typically, if you look at it, most of the startups used to come in metro cities and stuff like that. Now, with a program like Shark Tank, what it does is it creates a lot of buzz even in smaller cities and towns. So now, if you look at it, a lot of startups are coming in smaller tier 2 tier 3 towns, and fundamentally, if you look at how the interest started, it's all started by seeing a program like this. either at whatever happened at the America, or right now what's happening in Shark Tank India. So I think that's the positivity that the program like that can bring in, and it's a fantastic thing for a country like India, where we need to have a lot of startups and entrepreneurs to make sure that we create the kind of jobs that that is available in the market.
True. Yeah, it just the thoughts, how do we spread it across, how do we just dream it, etc. would be there. But taking that as a first goal to just get into that, probably you can just have with that a couple of other options so that your wider options are available to just reach your stars, what you are just looking for. Right.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thanks, Amar, for just pitching in over there.
Thanks, Revati, for that question.
Thank you, Revati. So this is what is a first step, Amar, where we wanted to bring thoughts from you to look at that. How do we kindle aspiration into a actionable journey? Where do we just look at that? I know this is not something the entire part of it, but then from here on, if you are able to just connect with more people, team, it would be a great, or if you're looking for some more inputs you're looking for, feel free to comment and we will do our best to just come back and then answer that question too. So with that, I would like to say thanks for just being with us, Amar. It was a honorable and pleasurable way of just bringing you and taking your insights with us. Indeed, it is lovely to hear your insights. But followed up that, since you are just coming with the sales and the go-to-market strategy, probably we should just do the phase two offer to just deep dive into that one of that and take it to the next level. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Manjula, for this wonderful uh, opportunity to interact with all the people. Revati, I got your question. It says, what would you advise for a failed entrepreneur to move forward? So I think there is nothing called as a failed entrepreneur. There's a learned entrepreneur. That's what I would say. Everything comes with a bit of a learning. If you can take it positively and look at it as a learning, probably your next step, or the next enterprise that you're going to start would be far more fruitful. One critical point that you need to always look at it is, where do you cut your losses when you're starting any new business or any startup. At the end of the day, you should also be clear about your end game, right? If you're not clear about the end game, you will not know where to cut the losses, and you will be going on investing money again and again, which may not go anywhere. So very critical point for a entrepreneur, especially when starting the journey, is to be very clear about the end game and know when to cut the losses. And that way you will probably get the learnings, but not really get into the mode of calling yourself as a failure. That's what I would say.
Awesome.
And just to conclude on what Manjula was saying, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it was lovely being here. And feel free to reach out. You can visit our website, www.sarthy.vip, and take our 5-minute assessment test if you are an entrepreneur looking to raise funds. You can also write to me at amar@sarthy.in, and also probably you can take down my number and ping me if you really feel like reaching out to me. It's 701-9133-544.
This is a good way of see how do we sell this part of it. Amar has just showed is a live example to do that, but feel free to just reach Amar on that any of the query. More than that, it's easy to reach Amar on LinkedIn. He is available on LinkedIn
Absolutely.
for all the part of it. That's really easy. So then you can navigate. You don't need to remember anything. Just connect with him on LinkedIn and take it forward. Whatever is just looking forward to pick this up, or just comment over there. We would be more than happy to just pick it up. Thanks for being with us, Amar. Lovely talking to you. And come forward to just take it up much more bigger session to excite and entice the community. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Thank you.
being here. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Bye bye.